Hey everyone, today we're talking about the top 5 pros and cons of moving to Baltimore, Maryland, and we're getting started right now. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about all things living in Maryland. So if that's the kind of information that you're interested in looking for, make sure to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of our new weekly videos. And if you ever have any specific real estate questions about buying or selling, I love taking all your calls here in the Maryland area about buying or selling a home. Feel free to reach out to the number on your screen that comes directly to me. You can call or text anytime, and I'd love to take any of your questions. Let's jump right into the top 5 pros and cons about living in Baltimore, Maryland. All right, everyone, pro number 1 is the community sports in Baltimore. It's just awesome, especially if you're coming from out of the area, out of state, if you're looking to meet new people, make new friends. This is just a great way to do that. So it used to be called Baltimore Social. Now it's called Volo City Baltimore, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of a national brand. So make sure to check that out. They've got tons of different options. Everything from beach volleyball, soccer, cornhole, football, and I know they've got even more options. I will put a link below in the description if you want to check that out and see an entire list of all the different sports and all the different options that they have. Now, when I did kickball a few years ago, I don't know if they still do this, but it was actually cup in hand, where you had to play with a cup of beer in your hand the entire time. Kick it, run it, catch it. You had to keep the drink in your hand the entire time. I don't know if they still do that anymore, but that was kind of funny a few years ago when it was still Baltimore Social. All right, and con number 1 here in the Baltimore area is going to be the traffic. So on the beltway of Baltimore's beltway is 695, really up around the northern part and the southern part around 95. It really is kind of unpredictable. You can have backups there any time of the day, which is pretty annoying. But for the most part, the rest of the Baltimore beltway is going to be really more around rush hour time. So it's pretty predictable, but those the northern and southern parts are going to be any time of the day, so you want to be aware of that. Also on 95 will take you straight north to Philly. 95 south will take you down to DC. Those can get pretty backed up on most parts of it, so you want to be aware of that. 295 also runs straight. That's Baltimore Washington Parkway. That runs straight from Baltimore down to DC. It's only 2 lanes on each side, so it can get fairly backed up, especially during rush hour. So you want to probably stay on 95 if you can, because that's 4 to 5 lanes on each side. And then if you're in the city of Baltimore, Light Street and Pratt Street kind of takes you right through and around the Inner Harbor. That can get very backed up, especially if there's a Ravens game, if there's an Orioles game. So you want to be aware of that. 95 actually turns into a toll as it takes you kind of right across the bay. So that's something worth looking into. If you want to just take that toll, it can kind of cut you across from the southeast part of Baltimore to the northeast part of Baltimore. That can kind of cut you across if you need to avoid going into that Inner Harbor part. So that can kind of save you some time there, and that might be something you want to check out. All right, pro number 2 about Baltimore, they've got great food, tons of things to do. So especially specific to the Inner Harbor, they've got a ton of options. You got to make sure to check that out. Right next to the Inner Harbor is Little Italy. If you're an Italian lover, they're going to have a ton of options there. Power Plant Live is right next to the Inner Harbor as well, which is going to have tons of different bar hopping options. They've got a lot of games that they set out. They even do a lot of concerts. Con number 2 of Baltimore is going to be the property taxes. So this is something you want to be aware of if you're going to be looking in Baltimore City. The tax rate on property is 2.25% versus in the county of Baltimore is 1.1%. So that's something you definitely want to be aware of. And that's going to lead us into pro number 3 of Baltimore is fairly affordable housing. So especially when you're considering coming up from DC and then the Northeast, since we're so close to Philly, New York, and that kind of stuff, it's definitely something that you notice here in this area is housing is more affordable when you compare it to other surrounding areas. The average price for a home in Baltimore City is going to be about $175 or so, although if you're going to be living in and around the harbor, those popular areas, Federal Hill, Fells Point, Canton, you're gonna wanna expect to pay into the mid to high 2s and well into the 3s. For 3-bed, 2-bath row home, that's gonna be common, and that'll definitely, you'll definitely be looking to spend probably at least that if you're gonna be in those areas. However, in Baltimore County, if you're looking for a townhome, you can expect to pay mid to upper 2s. $275 would get you a solid 3-bed, 2-bath townhome. But if you're looking specifically for a single family home, you're gonna need to be probably up into the mid to upper 3s, but under $400,000 in Baltimore County is gonna give you a ton of single family options. Okay, con number 3 of living in Baltimore, Maryland is gonna be the income tax. In addition to state income tax, which is about 5.75%, every county in Maryland is going to be paying some sort of local county income tax. Baltimore City is among the highest of 3.2%, along with surrounding counties like Howard County, Montgomery County as well. If you're going to be looking in Baltimore County, they're at 2.83% compared to Baltimore City's 3.2%. And then Anne Arundel County is just south of the city, and that's 2.56%. Okay, pro number 4 of living in Baltimore, Maryland is the accessibility to so many different areas. So this is one of my favorites. So in Baltimore, Maryland, you are about an hour and a half to Philly. You're about 3-hour drive to New York City, and just about 45 to 55 minutes, depending on traffic, down to DC. Also, in the summer, if you like going to the beach, you have Ocean City just about 3.5 hours away, as well as some of the Delaware beaches just north. If you'd like to ski in the winter, Deep Creek has options for you. If you like the lake life in the summer, Deep Creek is going to give you those options as well. We're also not far from West Virginia, so renting a cabin and getting away for a weekend in the hills or the woods of West Virginia is also a fun option as well. Okay, con number 4 is going to be their liquor store rules. Now, this is specific to Baltimore City and Baltimore County. On Sunday, they do not allow sale of packaged alcoholic beverages. So you're gonna either have to go to the bar, or you're gonna have to make a road trip to nearby counties such as Howard County, Anne Arundel County. You're gonna be able to purchase that on Sunday. Depending on what part of the city you're in, you're probably looking at like 20 minutes, 25 minutes road trip to one of those nearby counties. If you're gonna have to have alcohol for the Ravens game on Sunday, which we're gonna need that, right? So you're probably gonna have to plan around that. Also specific to alcohol sales. In Maryland, everything alcoholic is sold in liquor stores, so you're not going to be able to combine your trips to the grocery stores and get alcohol as well. Most of Maryland does a pretty good job. There's typically a liquor store next to grocery stores, so hopefully it's not too much of an inconvenience, but that was something that caught me off guard when I moved here 6 years ago. Okay, pro number 5 is Baltimore really doesn't have that, big city feel that a lot of other major cities in the U.S. has. Even though it is a major U.S. city, it's just that the people are great, people are friendly, people just strike up conversations all the time in Baltimore, and it's just kind of a fun, smaller town feel, even though you're still in a big city. So when you come here, don't be surprised if people are very friendly, waving, saying hi, and things like that. You're going to see a lot of that in Baltimore. Okay, con number 5 would be the crime. You didn't think I'd forget about that, did you? So depending on what article you look at, Baltimore is going to be anywhere from number 1, certainly top 5 as far as crime, dangerous city in America. So I would just recommend that, wherever you are going to go, just make sure you do your research. But personally, I have always felt safe if you're going to, stick to the Inner Harbor area. It's an area that a lot of people are going to be. I've always seen, police presence there. Not in a bad way, but they're just, there interacting with people, saying hi, having conversations. But they're there, and it does help. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something. If you ever have any questions, need anything at all, real estate related or not, when it comes to Maryland, feel free to reach out anytime, and we'll see you at the next video.